What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Just back from my long weekend at Grand Onslaught 8 GT down in Florida. For those who don't know, I live in Virginia, so about a 15-hour drive down, 15-hour drive back. So a little worn out, but I'm here to give you guys my recap on the event, my games, how I thought Bliss did, how I thought I did. I will do a second video later on actually how I feel each unit did in the list and how I think I might change it heading into an RTT in 2 weeks and Nova in 3 weeks. But with that being said, please like, share, subscribe, all that cool YouTube stuff. Help the channel get out there. And with that, first thing we're going to do is just give you guys a recap of the list I was running. So pull up the full screen. So I was running Champions of Russ. I enjoyed the attachment over the weekend. I thought it's solid. Bjorn's good. Captain with the Black Death. Chaplain, Lieutenant with Combi Weapon, Ragnar. 5-man Assault Intercessors. They ran with the Captain with Black Death every game. An Impulsor. Blade Guard Veteran squad, 6-man. This ran with Ragnar and the Impulsor. Another Blade Guard Veteran squad. This ran with the Chaplain. The Chaplain and the Captain, both their units ran in my Land Raider. So we have 1 Gladiator Lancer, 2 Plasma and Scepter 3-mans, 1 Infiltrator squad, the Redeemer, and then a Vindicator. So the basic thought was they were running layout 6 and 4, which are real shooty, so I wanted a little bit of shooting. Plus, I'd had some trouble at the last RTT I went to killing some Grey Knights and Imperial Knights, so this list compared to the list I took the last tournament has a little more shooting and anti-vehicle built in. That was the thought behind that. But first round, I drew Mark Perry, formerly of Art of War. I've known Mark for a long, long time. He was down there in Florida when I used to live down there, and we've been going at each other for years. I actually saw Mark before the event, and we were catching up, and he was running Orcs, and I brought my Space Wolves, and his Orcs and my Space Wolves have a rivalry running back 10-ish years, probably, at least, if not longer. And so we were joking about, yeah, we need to get them back into each other, and we got paired round 1. So we both thought that was kind of funny. We were both really looking forward to this game, but we'll go ahead and share his list here. So he had the Dread Mob. He had a Big Mech with the Shock Attack Gun. He had Gazgul, Zadgrog Wartsnaga, 20 Gretchen that he ran with Zadgrog, 10-man Gretchen, 10-man Gretchen, 10-man Gretchen, 3 Death Dreads, a custom Mega Blast on this one, Scorch on these 2, squad of Flash Gits, 1, 2, 3 squads of Commandos, 1 big squad of Mech Guns, which he ran the Big Mech with, and then 2 single Mech Guns, 3 units of Storm Boys. So round 1 ended up being Linchpin. It was Tipping Point deployment, and the mission special rule was Fog of War. So Mark ended up getting the first turn, and he ended up wawing turn 1 and getting into me. I believe I deployed a little more aggressively in this game than I should have. Just got into the habit of deploying the way I always deployed. I'm not thinking, you know what, I should probably step back a little bit just because Orcs can go so fast turn 1. And with this being Fog of War, everything is covered turn 1, and you can't use any of the core rulebook stratagems. So he ran Zograg in the 20-man up. He ran a bunch of Commandos up, and I couldn't Overwatch any of them with the Redeemer because Overwatch is a core stratagem. So I realized that midway through his movement, I was going to Overwatch the Gretchen, and we both realized I can't Overwatch. And I was like, crap, okay, that's bad. So he got them into my Vindicator, got it down to 3 wounds. He got 2 Commando squads into the Impulsor with Ragnar in it, ended up killing it. I had to emergency disembark to get everybody out. Luckily, I didn't roll any 1s or 2s on the dice, so Ragnar squad actually got unscathed out of that. So I lost the Impulsor, and the Vindicator survived. Mark's turn 1, he drew Containment and Sabotage. So he ended up getting 6 points for Containment and 0 for Sabotage. So then on my turn, I drew recover assets and marked for death. I managed to end up scoring 3 on recover assets, and I managed to start hitting him back. He tagged the Redeemer with the Gretchen when they charged the Vindicator. So I debated leaving it there so it could still shoot them, but I ended up falling back with it down the right flank just so the 2 squads in it could get further up the table to other stuff. So it ended up taking me about... Oh, no, that's not true. The captain's squad got out and charged into the Gretchen. I took the Lander up the side with the chaplain squad in it so they could start getting up the table. So I ended up killing most of the Gretchen that turn and finishing him off during his turn with the combat. So that worked out okay. I had Bjorn come into that combat as well. So that ended up working all right. I managed to get rid of that big pain in the butt. But so start of his first turn, he got 3 points for primary because I was able to keep him off all the center objectives. He drew cleanse and overwhelming force for 4 points. My turn, I ended up scoring 8 because I managed to control 2 objectives. I drew behind enemy lines and secure no man's land. So I got 3 for behind enemy lines. I dropped one of my Inceptor squads back there. And for secure, I managed to take 2 of the middle objectives. So I got 8 points for that. Then he got 8 on primary on turn 3. He drew behind enemy lines and defend. He got 4 for behind enemy lines and 3 for defend. So he ended up scoring 7 secondary that turn. He ended up holding me to 3 on primary that turn. So now we're even. Both had a 3 and an 8. I drew no prisoners and overwhelming force. I managed to get a full 5 for no prisoners, but nothing for overwhelming force. So only scored 5 secondary that turn. Turn 4, I held him to a 3 again for primary. Oh, no, I'm doing this right. Sorry. He held me to a 3 and he got an 8. Then I got an 8 and held him to a 3. Then on turn 4, he got an 8. And he got established locus and secure no man's land. And he ended up getting both of those for 9 points. Then I got 3. And I ended up getting extend and cleanse for getting 9. So at that point, he was up 5 on primary. But then going into turn 5, I managed to 0 him on primary. I managed to end up taking his backfield with the Inceptors and keeping him off all the middle objectives. He got 0 for bring it down and 5 for assassinate. Then on my secondaries on turn 5, I got 5 for assassinate, 6 for containment for 11 points. But the way linchpin works, since it's not capped, and I had already taken his backfield, I was able to take the 3 middle ones and mine and hold all 5. So I was able to score 23 primary points at the end of turn 5. So I ended up beating him 83-60. So I beat him by 23 points. So even if it had been capped, as long as I scored at least 1 point, I would have still won the game. So even though the score is 83-60, it was way tighter than that. It's just a weird end of game scoring on linchpin that made it look like a little bigger victory than it was. Secondaries, I beat him 36-31, and primary, I beat him 37-19. But once again, if you take that 23 away, that's 24-19. So it was real tight. Mark was, as always, a good game. We had a lot of fun. I think I did pretty much everything right, other than I deployed too aggressively. But after that, I think I played fairly well to dig myself out of that hole. Got a little lucky in spots, like the Redeemer killed a Death Dread in Overwatch, which it can happen, but I don't think statistically that happens every time. So that really helped. So that kept the Land Raider alive. So that was round 1. Then going into round 2, I ended up playing into Death Guard, being run by AJ Sosa. I believe he is from Miami and runs with some guys I know from down there, one of which we end up playing later. But we'll go ahead and pull up his list. When I first saw it was Death Guard, I was like, all right, I've got decent experience into Death Guard. I should probably be okay into this matchup. Then I started looking at his list, and it was kind of a weird list. So he had two Biologist Putrefier, 2 Foul Blight Spawn, Lord of Contagion, Tallyman, Typhus. None of that's crazy. That's pretty. You see that in a lot of Death Guard lists. 2 10-man Plague Marine squads. They were running in Rhinos with some characters for all the fight first and all that stuff. There's the 2 Rhinos. 10-man squad Occultists. 3 Predator Destructors. a 3-man Death Shroud, a Foated Bloat Drone, 1 squad of Nurglings, and 2 War Dog Brigands. So the Predators and the War Dog Brigands were a little bit of a problem because they're really good at killing vehicles, and I went very vehicle heavy in this list. So the mission for this was Scorched Earth, Search and Destroy, and Stalwarts. And the only major mistake I made was early on. Let's see, we'll go through this. I'll get to it. So he ended up deploying first, but I ended up going first. So turn 1, I draw extend battle lines and no prisoners, which ended up getting for 7 points because I killed. I believe I killed the Nurglings. I killed the Nurglings turn 1. Then he ended up drawing overwhelming force and no prisoners, so he got a 0. And I'm like, all right, 7-0. This is looking okay. I got a 5 for primary. I got Defend No Man's Land and Mark for Death, which got me another 8. So I was feeling pretty good at this point. But this is where things started going a little downhill. Because when I drew the Mark for Death, he marked 2 of his Predators and one of his Rhinos. And I had the captain with the Black Death's unit, which those who don't know, he's for 1 turn can turn on his Our Finest Hour, complemented with the enhancement Black Death, just do crazy dev wounds to vehicles and monsters. So I had him in a position where he could kill a Brigand or the Rhino. Since the Rhino was marked for death, and I didn't really have a good chance to kill the Predators, like I did some wounds to some with shooting, but I wasn't in a position to get to the Predators. I was like, you know what? I'm going to advance and charge him. I'm going to go get these 5 points for Mark for Death. And I did. But I believe leaving that Brigand alive was a mistake. If I'd have gone into the Brigand, because I ended up doing 16 dev wounds, I would have picked it up. And that would have made the game a lot easier because the secondary or the mission rule was Stalwarts, which lets battle line shoot in action. And late in the game, he got a couple key secondaries with the Brigands by doing actions with them, and it was let him still be able to shoot my vehicles. So that, if I'd have killed that and left him the Rhino would have to make this, its shooting doesn't bother me, so you'd just be doing actions, but it would leave my stuff alive. So I think that was honestly the biggest mistake in the game. I should have went after the Brigands there and the Predators more. I went a little more after the fight first stuff, trying to kill the Rhinos, pop the fight first out. I think I just have to deal with that, keep my combat units in my transports a little more, other than the Black Death, which I have to suicide into the Brigand, and just wait for him to get out first and just try to kill his anti-tank first. I tried to kill his transports first so that I could whittle down the fights first before I charged in. I think that ended up being a trap and mistake on my part. With that being said, he scored 10 on primary his second turn. He got Defend and Storm for 5 points. So I was feeling really good at this point because I didn't process how big a mistake I'd just made yet. Because I was down 5 on primary, but I was beating him a lot on secondary. I go into turn 3, I score 5 on primary. I draw Sabotage and Recover and end up getting a 0. So I was like, all right, that's not good. I held him to a 5 on primary. And then he got Bring It Down and Recover, and he managed to get 5 there. So I'm still up on secondary, but he's closing the gap, and he's still winning primary. Turn 4, I got a 10 on primary. I got Behind Enemy Lines and Recover. I got a 3 for Behind Enemy Lines, and I got rid of Recover now. I kept it from the turn before because I thought I was going to achieve it, but he managed to kill me. So I should have chucked Recover the turn before, but I didn't. So then he got 10 on primary again. He got Secure No Man's Land and Air Denial for 10. And then turn 5, I got a 5 for primary and then burning his home objective for 10. And I got Secure and Cleanse for another 0 on secondary. He got a 10 for primary and also got 10 for burning mine. We actually had kind of ended up swapping which ends of the boards we controlled at this point, the way the game went. So that canceled because I felt good about getting my 10, but then his Death Shroud were able to walk me to the 10, so it really canceled me out there. And then he got Contain and Establish Locus, which he ended up getting 6 for Contain. So secondary ended up beating me 26-18, and primary ended up beating me 45-35. So he beat me 81-63. But yeah, that last turn, that containment, he was able to do one of those with a brigand that if I had killed earlier, wouldn't have happened because it also killed some of my stuff, or he would have had to do something else with it. What else? He did a recover with one touching in there. They helped him get his secures. So there's a bunch of points there that could have went away if I'd killed that brigand, and I would have done better on primary because I'd had more stuff alive if I'd killed the brigand and left the rhino. Um, so those are just a few mistakes. I think the list could beat his list. I just feel like he outplayed me. So I think that is more on me than the list. There are some changes I'm going to make the list. I'll go over that in another video. But I think this game could have been won with that list if my target priority had been better. I didn't think about the brigands being battle line. Just for some reason, I was thinking as an allied unit, they didn't get it, but I guess they do. And I guess I just had a little too much faith in the survivability of my Land Raider and Vindicator and stuff. But with 3 Predators and 2 Brigands, I need to kill as much as I can because they were able to start picking up my big stuff. So then going into round 3, I played into another Miami guy named Reggie Sanchez, who I've known forever. He's been a TO at a lot of big Florida events. We used to be on Brohammer together, and he was running AdMech. This was a really tight, really close game. I think I made a couple key mistakes in this game as well because having been out of the tournament circuit for so long and not having a lot of reps into stuff, I haven't played AdMech in a long time and definitely haven't played them with their new book and rules, with all their new updates and everything. So I wasn't exactly sure what everything did here, but he was running Skitarii cohort with a marshal, or 2 marshals. One had a Battlesphere uplink, one had Cantic Thrallnet. 1, 2, 3 units of Skitarii Vanguard, Scorpius Dune Rider, 2 2 units of Iron Stride Ballistari, Patraxi Skywalkers, 2 units of those, 1 big unit of Patraxi Sterilizers, 1 unit of Sakaran Infiltrators, 2 units of Sakaran Infiltrators, 1 unit of Rust Stalkers, then 2 units of the Dragoons with Taser Lances, and a Calidus. So going into this game, after having thought about the last game and realizing I needed to kill the big stuff first, I kind of went after his chickens that I thought could kill my big stuff in this matchup, and I think that ended up being the mistake in this game. I believe in this game, I should have gone after his infantry first, the way the game ended up playing out. This is all sorts of rerolls and anti-infantry stuff. Like once my stuff was out of the vehicles, they were just wrecking it really good. So I think perhaps I should have gone after that stuff first. So I think that might have been the major mistake here, was not realizing what was the main problems in AdMech and overcompensating from what happened in the Death Guard game to going too hard after big stuff that he had hidden behind everything else. And I should have tried to pick up some of the infantry, I believe. But this was Terraform, Crucible of Battle, and this was Stalwarts again. They ran 2 Stalwarts missions back to back. So I ended up going first again. So Terraform is one where you can do actions on objectives to get stuff. So I ended up turn 1 getting Containment and Overwhelming Force. I got 6 for Containment and threw away Overwhelming Force. He ended up drawing Sabotage and Marked for Death. He got 3 for Sabotage, threw away Marked for Death. I got 4 for Primary. Turn 2, I got Cleanse and Engage. I managed to get 2 off both for 4. His turn, he got 4 for Primary. He got Bring It Down and Overwhelming Force. He managed to get 11 for that. He managed to kill. Overwhelming Force. Did he kill the Land Raider that turn? He might have killed the Land Raider turn 2. For some reason, in my mind, it happened later than that, but yeah, it might have been bottom of turn 2. He killed the Land Raider. All right, so anyway, he got 6 for Bring It Down, 5 for Overwhelming Force. Then my turn 3, I ended up getting 14 for primary because I held 3 objectives and I had terraformed one on my last turn. So that was a big swing for me. But at the end of turn 3, and then we'll get into that. And then my primaries were Secure No Man's Land and Established Locus, which ended up getting 5 and 2 for. Then he got 8 on primary. He got Engage and Secure. He scored 2 for both and got 4. He then ends up taking a secret mission. So I'm like, all right, I haven't played against somebody taking a secret mission for, so this was before. So this was kind of all right, new for me. So I'm trying to figure out which ones did he take, which one. And with AdMech, for those who don't know, they're able to pick up their units. They're even able to pick up their battle line. And one of his battle line had his Warlord in it. So one of the things is get a battle line in your opponent's deployment zone and your opponent not have any back there. That was going to be easy for do because he already killed my battle line unit. The other one is get your Warlord on the objective of your opponent's deployment zone. Same thing. He could drop them back there. Other one is to have basically all your opponent's units either dead, below half strength, battle shocked, or away from an objective. That was going to be the hardest one for him to do. So I was like, all right, that's probably not the one he picked. And the third one is control the 3 objectives in No Man's Land. I'm like, well, you could take the 3 control in No Man's Land, or you could take either of the drop in my line ones. I thought he would take one of those just because the way he was positioned to that point, I wasn't probably going to be able to get to that infantry squad. So I'm like, all right, that's probably what he's going for. So I was using my infiltrators to try to start moving to deny that, thinking he was going to probably come after them. So I was doing my best to protect them till turn 5 when I could try to deny that. So then on my turn 4, I got 14 again for primary. I got no prisoners and extend battle line, so I got 4 and 5 for that. And then he got 4 for primary. He got 5 for area denial and 3 for defend. On my last turn, I got 6 for primary. I ran my infiltrators out to screen my backfield the best, just to try to move the Lancer back to try to prevent him from being able to get either of those 2. So then he got a 4 on primary, so that put him at 8. So that put him at 20 exactly for regular primary, and I was at 38. So then I got 4 for bring it down that turn, and then he got 5 for assassinate, 6 for containment, put him at 11. So in secondary, he beat me 37-30, and I was beating him 38-20. So I was actually up, what was it? I was up 11 points because I was up 18. He beat me. I was up 11 points, and then he flipped over his secret mission, and it was take the 3 in the middle, which he managed to do. So that ended up flopping the score from 78-67 me to 87-78 him. I didn't care for that too much. Like, I'm not a huge fan of secret missions. This is the first time I've actually had to experience them in a game. I was in good position, winning the game the whole time. Just something like that to swap it. I mean, I'm sure other people think they're amazing. I don't think they really have a great place in competitive play. You're getting outplayed the whole game and just go for a Hail Mary gamble like that to steal the game. So that stuck in my craw a little bit. I thought I should have won that game. I thought I outplayed him for most of the game. I was got terraformed. I was getting 14, like I almost, got 38 and 30. Like I thought I did really great. So that bothered me a lot, honestly. And that was the end of day 1. There was 2 games the next day. So I ended up 1 and 2. I felt like I should have been 2 and 1 without the secret mission. I could have easily gone 3-0 if I'd played better the first game. And that's another thing. If I'd taken out some of that infantry early, he wouldn't have been able to swarm those objectives as much. So that would have honestly... Well, if I kill those infantry, he can't do... Basically eliminates 3 of the secret missions. So I know he's only got 1 he can go for, and so I can try to counter that 1 instead of him having 3. And I'm just trying to... I can't counter all of them, so I'm going to counter these 2 I know I can, and I pick, and he managed to pick the other one. So if I kill the infantry, that's really the only one he can go for, and then I could try to counter that one. Because I had to move the Lancer back. I could have tried to contest one of the objectives with the Lancer if I hadn't had to fall it back to help screen my deployment zone from the battle line. So that was I don't think I really played bad in that mission, but going forward, if I had to do over, I would just kill that infantry first because his big stuff isn't as good at killing my little stuff because it's big shots. So like my storm shields and stuff would help keep me alive against it. Where just all his little shots just whittle you down. Um, so that was a loss. And then going into day two, round one, I thought I was playing into Death Guard again, but there were some drops, so they ended up having to repair and ended up playing into Chaos Demons, run by Ian McKenzie, who is a great dude. Like I've known Ian for a little while. He was actually one of the kind of newer guys right before I moved away from Florida, but we got some practice in for the ATC right before I left, so I got to know him a little bit. Used to be an orc player, and probably still is, but he was running demons this event. Uh, really nice guy, so I was really excited for that. We were talking crap to each other just because we know each other. And, great game. We had a blast the whole time. All right, so then here's his list. He had a Bloodmaster 2 times, Bloodthirster, Lord of Change, 2 Renmasters, Scarbrand, uh, 3 10-man Bloodletter squads, 1 Nurgling squad, 1 Plaguebearer squad, 2 Fleshhound squads. So this game was pretty good. It was Purge the Foe, Crucible Battle, and Rapid Escalation. So he ended up going first. So turn 1 he got 0. Or sorry, yeah, turn 1 he got 0. He got Assassinate, Bring It Down, which he got 0 points on. I ended up getting Secure No Man's Land and Contain for 8 points. Then he ended up getting up 4 for Hold. And then he got Assassinate and Bring It Down. He got 2 for Bring It Down. All right, yeah, so we got 2 for Bring It Down. Then I got 4 for Holding an Objective. I got Air Denial, Overwhelming Force. I got 5 for Overwhelming Force. Then at the end of the round, I ended up having Kill More, and he ended up having. I have him as not having a kill here, but the score sheet says he got Bring It Down. So he must have had another 4 here, which we didn't. Him and I missed. Looking back at this, so I got 12. He should have had 8. We got him marked down for 4. 4 points isn't enough to change what the score was, but if you watch this, I think you had an extra 4 points on turn 2. So then going into turn 3, he got 4 for holding 1. He got Assassinate and Bring It Down again. Oh, he took Fix. He had Assassinate and Bring It Down as fixed. So he ended up getting 4 for Assassinate and 8 for Bring It Down. Oh, no, that's what happened. He didn't have that 2 there. He had 10 on turn 3. We missed 2 points for one of his Bring It Downs. We realized at the end because he killed all my vehicles, and we were trying to pick which turn it was. So it must have been turn 3 where we missed it when he killed a bunch of vehicles. So I think we were right about that 4 on turn 2. Anyway, so he got 10 for Bring It Down, 4 for Assassinate, which took him to 14 points for secondary that turn. And so he ended up killing 3 units. And on my turn, I got 4 for holding an objective. I drew Area Denial and Extend Battle Lines. I got both for 10. And then I ended up killing the same as him. So we both got 8 that turn. Turn 4, he got 4 for holding an objective. He got 8 for Assassinate, 0 for Bring It Down. Then on my turn, I got 4 for hold. I got 2 for Engage, 0 for Storm. Then he ended up getting 8 for Kill More, and I got no kills that turn. So I put him to a 12. And then last round, he got 8 for holding and holding more. He got 8 for Assassinate, 2 for Bring It Down. I got 0. I held 0 objectives, and then behind and recover, I got 0 for those. And then I got 0 for kills. He got 8 for kills. So he ran away with it right there at the end. He ended up getting 82.59. There was actually, I left the list up. one huge major mistake that really cost me this game. I failed to turn two, I believe it probably was, maybe turn three, failed to screen the land reader land raider well enough. I think it was turn two, so he was able to drop a bloodthirster in behind my lines with rapid ingress, jump up and get a charge into the land raider, and ended up killing it. If I just screen it a little better, which I easily could have done, I had the models to do it. I don't know why I didn't. It was just a mistake on my part, big mistake. Because if I screen it, I could have thrown away the impulsor or the infiltrator squad to let him kill that. At which point, if I have it screened like that, he might have not even dropped the bloodthirster there and go for that. But if I keep that land raider alive, I have something to help deal with his bloodletters, which ended up being the problem because I killed Scarbrand, killed the bloodthirster. Like I killed most of his big stuff. As he had a bunch of little crap running around scoring points at the end, which the Redeemer Flamers would have really helped with. And I don't think the blood letters themselves really pick it up that well. So that was the major mistake in that game, just not protecting the Land Raider. I think having that Redeemer alive would have really swung that game because I could have still killed the big stuff exactly the way I did. I would have just had something to deal with all the little bloodletters. So that I think really cost me that game. Probably have a decent chance of winning the game if I keep that Land Raider alive for a couple more turns at least. Once he starts pushing his bloodletters up, because he kept them back. He didn't bring them in, didn't bring them to the Land Raider until it was dead. And then he full pushed me and worked out well for him. So I lost that one, 82-59. So at this point, I'm 1-3. And for the most part, games 2 and 4, I believe, are on me. Game 3, secret mission, I still believe I should have won. So then going into round 5, I played into Alex Caseman with her Eldari. This was a really good game. She is a fan of Space Wolves. Her and I had talked about that in the past, back when I used to live in Florida. So we had some banter off Space Wolves. She told me I wasn't a real Space Wolf player because I didn't have any Thunder Wolves, even though I did have Ragnar and Bjorn. So we joked around about that. She had Illic Night Spear, Yvrain, 10 Storm Guardians, Shroud Runner, 2 units of Striking Scorpions, 2 D Cannons, a Viper, Warp Spiders, Wind Riders, Mandrakes, Ravager, 2 units of Reaver, 3 units of Reavers, 3 units of Scourges, all with Dark Lances. I was lucky, or not lucky, I was happy to see that she had Dark Lancers and not Haywire. That's just a little easier to deal with for all my vehicles. But this mission was, flip the right page. Take and hold, tipping point, and raise banners. So she ends up going first. She ends up drawing cleanse and containment. She managed to do both and raise a banner. So she ends up getting 11 secondary turn 1. Not sure why everything is freezing on this video now. All right. So yeah, so she got 11 points on secondary turn 1. I end up drawing bring it down and recover assets, and then end up getting a 0. So that's I think that's twice I zeroed turn 1 primary. So then she gets 10 for secondary. She draws established locus and extends. I managed to get a 2 and a 5 for 7 points. I got a 10 on primary. I drew bring it down and defend, which I got a 4 for bring and a 3 for defend for 7. Then she gets a 5 on primary on turn 3. She gets recover assets and sabotage. She got 3 for recover and discard sabotage for a CP. I got 15 on primary on turn 3. I end up drawing established locus and storm hostile objective. I got 4 for established locus, but no hostile objective. But I do raise a banner here, so I end up with 5 points. Then turn 4, she gets a 10 on primary. She drew no prisoners and secure no man's land. She got 5 on both of those for 10. I also got a 10 on primary turn 4. I got Assassinate and Behind Enemy Lines, which ended up getting 5 and 4 for 9 points. Then last round, she got a 10 for primary. She drew Stormhouse Objective and Area Denial. She got 5 for Area Denial, nothing for Storm. I got 15 for primary because I got to score at the end of the turn. I got 2 for No Prisoners and 6 for Containment. So secondary, she ends up beating me 36 to 29, but primary, I beat her 50 to 35. So I ended up winning 89 to 81. Really, really close game. The Eldar just have lots and lots of stuff to do secondaries with. So luckily, I was able to beat her on primary. I did have a turn where I pushed my Land Raider up the right flank and sent both units down to like her far right corner to kill a Ravager and a Viper for bring it down points. I think I should have only sent one unit and just killed the Ravager, left the Viper alone. That way the other unit could have pushed more middle, because those 2 units were kind of out of position after that point. So I wasn't able to kill a bunch of her little stuff. So I think that was the only like major mistake I made. Because if I had pushed those guys middle, it would have helped me pick up a couple more of her smaller units. And I could have helped, hopefully, she wouldn't have had as much stuff to do all these secondary, so I could have kept secondary a little closer. So I still managed to win this game, but I think that was a big mistake. That luckily her stuff is fragile, so when I pushed my big stuff middle, she wasn't able to contest me on some of those objectives. But if she'd got a little luckier with some of her Dark Lances and stuff and managed to pick up the Land Raider or something, me being out of position and leaving all the little stuff alive could have easily cost me that game. But that's basically a recap. Ended up 2 and 3. List probably needs a couple little tweaks. I don't think the list is real bad. I think most of it is my rust and not having some experience into a lot of the armies currently. So we will see how that goes. Going to get some test games in here coming up, and then we got an RTT in 2 weeks. But I will do a video coming up here soon talking about my thoughts on how I want to change the list, what units performed best, what units are replaceable. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next time.